What's up, everybody? That was my heroic pose because we're back on a Monday with a brand spanking new episode of Chat and Draw. And if you're just tuning in or you're popping in and you're like, well, hey, what's this? What's going on here? Well, this is a show where I sit down with a fellow creative or a fan and I draw their character of choice and we talk about it. Hence the name Chat and Draw. That's what we do. Now, me, on the other hand, I just happen to be the publisher of Short Fuse Media Group, founder of Freestyle Comics, one half of the good, the bad, and the nerdy, and the most enthusiastic person in comics, also going by the name of the Superman brother, Mike Watson, your host today and every day on every episode of Chat and Draw. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown there. Now, today we are jumping back into the ventures of the Chat and Draw arena. I am drawing up another character here, and we have a returning guest. This season's been filled with returning guests, which is good because it means they've enjoyed the show or it's done something good for them, which I appreciate. And we've been kind of keeping up the rhythm of for our Kickstarters. We've been doing several Kickstarters for people with them, having them on here talking about the Kickstarter, and we'd be getting them pledges live while we're on the show. So we definitely want to keep that up. Hey, Haley. Haley's in the building again, watching us from Twitch. All right. And now, without further delay, let's get this on. Let's get this party started. It's been I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. Mine was good. I ate ribs, burgers, hot dogs, and fries. And sausages with the barbecue sauce. And I made Big Mac sauce. So that was all fun and good. All right. No more delay. Let's get into it.
Here comes a new challenger.
Oh, look who it is over here on the interwebs. Alan, man, you're back. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you there, Mike?
I am doing good. I've got a very busy day ahead of me. Well, I don't know. Let me take that back. I got a busy couple months ahead of me. So let me reword that. All right. So what's good? What brings you back to the show?
Well, I had been sort of nosing around, and I saw that Danny Quick had been on the show a second time there, or maybe the third time or fourth time. I'm not sure. He seems to be a recurring character with Team Spoiler Alert or whatever he's calling himself now. And I thought, well, hey, wait a second. If Danny's, getting his shine on there, then I should try and, see if I can pop back on. Got a chance last time. I think it was, when Danny was on that I got a chance to show off the colored version of your work there.
And that was really nice.
Yeah, it turned out pretty well. So I think I figured I would jump back in. I've been trying to find different ways to keep some sort of buzz going for Project Impact. And I figured, okay, well, if there's anybody who's going to be able to capture the damsel character, it's going to probably be you, because unknowingly, when I was first designing the character, she's got a look that's at least reminiscent of Vigilance. So
a little bit similar colors or whatnot. But how about you tell us what makes this character so special? What is it? Well, first off, let's start off here.
Okay.
Did not expect the name to be Damsel. normally that is a name that is, or a title that's used for a female in distress and always needing help.
Mhm,
But you decide to claim it as your hero's name.
mhm.
How did that come about?
Okay, well, I had been nosing around. Now, as you may remember, I'm from Canada, and one of our official languages is French.
Hmm.
And I was sort of nosing around different things. I don't know why it didn't, hit me earlier, but just the idea that there are certain titles or words in French that are just sort of combinations of a couple of different words, right? So you've got like madame, right, which I'm sure
Hmm.
you've heard before, right?
Yeah.
Madame is just if you translate that directly into English, it's my lady, because
Okay.
you got ma, which is my, and then dame, which is lady. And then I thought, well, wait a second. I wonder if that's the same thing with mademoiselle, which is supposed to be like miss. And it is, so you've got ma, which is my again, and then demoiselle, um, which is like young lady. So if you're calling
Okay.
somebody like miss or what like that, is mademoiselle, um, and that sort of started a thought process for me. It occurred to me that the word damsel was just an English version of the French word demoiselle,
Hmm.
which is just literally meaning sort of like young lady. And then I started also thinking about okay, well, if I had a character named damsel, what do you normally picture if you like? Because you've got probably a mental image in your mind of what a damsel is supposed to be,
Right. Right. Right.
right? I decided that I wanted to take whatever my normal um, thought was and flip it on its head. So
Hmm.
instead of like a little 95-pound, you know, blonde girl with like Rapunzel or something like that, I decided that I wanted basically like Serena Williams,
Hmm.
because you're not going to get any further away from a damsel in distress than Serena Williams. That
Right.
woman is, like peak athlete and just absolutely like, you know, yeah.
Right. Right.
So then when I came to the power set, I had been thinking, okay, well, I've been a fan of the original earlier iterations of Ms. Marvel Carol Danvers and the, I guess, power sets that she's had sort of over the years. So I started thinking, okay, well, what if I basically had Serena Williams as a non-binary, well, binary being the incarnation that she was at one point, cosmic,
Hmm.
whatever. So basically, a non-binary version of that, and slap her into like Serena Williams' body, basically.
Okay.
So that was where that sort of came from. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of take that idea, and so you got a character with a name, well, with the name damsel, that you immediately expect is going to be, well, again, the one who's always going to be needing help, but realistically, she's probably the one least in need of help on the entire team.
Okay.
So it's pretty much like in the first issue, she's the one who is responsible for getting to the hostages safely, and takes on one of the uh, mercenary superhuman mercenary characters there, and basically like she quite literally like jumps on a grenade to keep the hostages safe. Now, mind
Hmm.
you, she gets up without a scratch, so it's not really that big of a a sacrifice in the grand scheme of things. But still, the point is that she's willing to put herself in harm's way. Like she's pretty much the antithesis of what you would think of in terms of like the usual damsel in distress sort of idea. Like she's quite literally the one who is saving others who are in distress.
Hmm. I wonder. I wonder. Let me see here. Okay. All right. So let's uh let's get into it. Were there any inspirations specifically, like character wise, movie wise, comic cartoon wise, for the character?
Well, again, I've always been a big admirer of again Serena Williams. I think
Okay.
she is just from an athletic standpoint, she's just
Well,
unreal. And yeah, and again, a less less powerful Captain Marvel
Hmm.
sort of idea.
But
Uh,
like, so I know you touched on the Serena Williams thing and Captain Marvel, but like,
mhm,
what drove the choice for Captain Marvel for the power set of where she's at?
hmm,
Is what I guess I should have been more specific than that, because you
right.
explained why Serena Williams.
Mhm,
You wanted to go the opposite direction of what you thought a damsel was, would be
mhm,
in distress, and she'd clock somebody out, like she
mhm.
just looks like it.
Yeah.
But then you decide to mix that bit. You started to sprinkle in that Captain Marvel influence. So
Mhm.
what drove that? What made you just put those two together?
I think it would have been around the time because when I first came up with it, it was probably about 2016. Um, so I think we were in the middle of like one of the like innumerable reboots of Captain Marvel, I guess. And again, I do try and keep up as much as I can with some of the mainstream comics,
Mhm.
and um, I've always kind of felt that they've done Carol dirty over the years and never really quite gotten her right as far as trying to make her the sort of character that they want her to be.
Mhm.
And again, it's in my own sort of arrogance, I guess, just sort of deciding, what, I think I can do it better, and I want to make a character that would fulfill sort of, I guess, be my homage to Captain Marvel, but make her sort of more in line with how I think that she would work.
Okay.
Um, so, and I don't know, I liked the idea of coming up with yeah, just a character that was going to be the opposite of what people go expecting of her, just if you're going by like pure name, name value, name recognition sort of thing.
Okay. Try to get some detail here on her. There we go. You sent me a couple different sketches, so I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get like the. I know her costume is actually like kind of gridded a little bit.
yeah. Now, strictly speaking, the little name tag thing is not necessary.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah, that's but again, that was in one of the earlier sketches. Um, but essentially, yeah, she's got the like she's gone through a couple of different sort of looks to where there was another version that I had that would basically like okay, costume design, as you might remember from my last visit, is not exactly one of my stronger points. So like the original one was basically wearing something that amounted to be almost like a red leather jacket and like yoga pants and whatever sort of thing. So I think that um, you know, Stephen Peterson, who did the work on the comic.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so here, okay, the idea of okay, so Silent Dreamer 26. By non-binary, I do not mean non-binary in the sense of non-binary in terms of popular conversation. I mean non-binary as in there is a character called Binary in Marvel Comics.
Okay.
And well, because I'm just noticing in the Twitch chat here. And so I wanted a power set that would be similar to the character of Binary, but not nearly as powerful as her. So therefore, it is non-binary in that sense, not in a gender constructed sense.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, just popping into the. I just saw that question come up in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, Haley will ask some really
Yeah.
thought
So
provoking
yes, yeah. So it has
questions.
nothing to do. It has nothing to do with gender construction or whatever like that. So like, it only occurred to me when I was sort of saying it out loud that it's like there's a character, Carol Danvers, in pre Captain Marvel, was using the identity called Binary, which would have been a nod to a type of star,
Hmm.
celestial body star. And
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah, right. She had
yeah.
basically she had the big flaming hair thing going on, and she had so in that respect, that's what I meant by non-binary, not non-binary in the current discourse.
Okay. So real quick, I want to do a shout out and thanks to Andrew Duggan, Haley Dennis, Bradley Arney, Tom Kelly, and Unlikely Hero Studios. They are my Patreon members. Yeah, we're going strong here. They are super awesome for joining up. And Andrew Duggan actually signed up today. And I've been working on some Patreon stuff for them to get them all caught up on their rewards. But thank you so much for your support. I hope you continue to support me on the Patreon. I'm going to continue to try to do my best to make it an awesome, awesome Patreon for you all. And if anyone else is interested in signing up from Patreon, it is Most Epic Art on Patreon. Yeah, that right there. All right, looks like Haley hit you with another one.
Oh, which platform did she hit me
She
with?
did it on Twitch.
With another one? Okay, I don't see
Yeah,
that.
not by. Oh wait, or
That's me.
maybe it
That's me.
just popped up for me. She
That's
said not non-binary, and
no,
that
no,
says,
that's me.
"Oh, that's you.
That's
Oh,
me
you're on.
responding.
Oh, okay, you're multitasking. Good
I'm
job."
multitasking because I wanted to make sure I was sort of flipping back and forth here, just because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any questions there. I don't know if she's still in the chat room or not.
Yeah, she's
Um,
still in there.
okay. Um,
All right,
yeah.
so
So.
you've got this character.
Mhm.
We've gone ahead and created her now. Um, how did you go about coming up with the look of the costume?
Well, okay. So I was coming up with again a Canadian team, and for the most part, I didn't really have anybody who was like sort of like wearing any costumes that were reminiscent of the flag sort of motif.
Okay.
So I had thought about and just I don't know, she just seemed like a natural one to go putting it on there. That's as part of her background, I've got her as a former cadet at the Royal Military College in Kingston,
Mhm.
and their school colors are red and white, and so well, which again also happens to match the flag. But in terms of like when you go um, to say athletic competitions with them, like their uniforms are always red and white. So I thought, okay, well, I've got her as being a former cadet from the Royal Military College that um, would suit, it would fall in line with her background.
Okay.
And like the original, like again, look of it was more sort of like the red jacket and black pants things. It was really hitting closer to their more of like a sort of a combination of like a Mountie sort of thing, as well as playing into their uniforms. So I just thought, you know what, I think it fits well with her, and just yeah, I liked the look. If you want to actually even go back to the costume, the original costume that Carol was wearing as binary, it was almost a flip of what I ended up going with for the color scheme here, because she was going. Carol originally had a mainly white bodysuit with sort of red accents, and I sort of flipped that around to have mainly a red bodysuit with the white. So I really was drawing heavily on Carol there. That's
Your sound faded out.
I said I
Oh, never
drew.
mind.
Yeah.
I got it back. I got it back. That was me.
Okay.
Haley said she's listening at work.
Yes.
Oh shoot, we had 5 Twitchers watching us at one time. That's the most I've had on there. Come up.
Cool. I have no idea how many we've got on Facebook. I keep flipping back and forth around, and I can't tell. Like at least Twitch, I can follow some sort of any questions that are being asked, but I have a rough time with the Facebook side of things.
Yeah, I got it up on actually. So it looks like here we go. I forgot to click on it on Facebook because I keep a tab on it. For whatever reason,
Okay.
sometimes
Cool.
it'll pop up.
Hmm.
Brad's watching us.
Okay.
What's up,
So,
Brad? How you doing?
so yeah, I keep waiting for an appearance from Danny, because he usually has something interesting to say.
Oh, he does. Danny's probably just now getting off work.
All right, right. Of course.
He normally comes in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Uh, all things are coming along. You definitely you got her like got almost like a Starfire sort of main going there, which is
Yeah, a
quite cool.
little bit. I saw when I'm doing females' hair, I really
Mhm.
like to try to get some source material for it. And I saw this woman online that just had these like big curls that
Mhm.
like because it looks like you got her hair is there's a lot of it on one side and then kind of calms down on the other side or whatnot. So her hair was
Mhm.
just like that, but it's like
Mhm.
big popping curls. So I
Mhm.
thought that might look cool on her.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, that's yeah, it's one of the things that I've been actively in my own sketching, been trying to get better at doing female faces, and I just can't quite get it going right now. But like the hair is awful enough as it is. I'm definitely a nightmare when it comes to yeah, when it comes to getting the hair right. But then I'm finding that I end up making the jaw too big.
Hmm.
And so they always end up looking like, like Bruce Willis's mutant daughters or something. And yeah, so I've been trying my best to get better at that, but I haven't cracked the code yet.
Yeah, I was saying on my Patreon stream last night that I purposely like, besides the fact that I want to have more females represented in comics, and I want
Mhm.
my girls to be able to read my content and see themselves in it or whatnot. But I purposely make myself draw women because I want to get better at drawing women.
Mhm. Yeah, well, that's the thing as well because I've got like in my regular daily life, I'm a substitute teacher, and again, I try and sketch some stuff at recess and whatnot. And since I usually teach in French immersion schools, the schools are about 60 to 65% girls. So if you've got yourself mainly a bunch, well, again, classrooms, 2 out of 3 of the students are going to be girls. Probably be a good idea to know how to draw some female characters. So, that's part of what has, spurred me on over time. But yeah, so that's, like, as far as, Damsel goes, I don't know, I like her. There was one review that was not particularly kind to her. Um, but, basically saying that she should just be, like, sort of swapped out for another character, and I was like, "No, I'm not swapping out that character, that."
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that brings up interesting talk. How do you handle bad reviews?
um well, usually I sort of try and take, you know, I guess the criticism is well, okay. I definitely, have my moments where I sort of, mope a little bit, and then I, vent to a couple friends of mine,
Uh huh.
usually about how I don't, think that they necessarily, got what I was trying to do. Um, and then I try and see if there's any sort of constructive stuff to take from it. Fortunately, there haven't been a ton of bad reviews, which is good. That's partly why I wanted you to check out the books there to sort of get your opinion on what we'd done so far. But again, you're a busy man, so I understand. Um, it's yeah, I try and take it in the spirit that it's given. When it comes to say YouTube reviews or whatever like that, I've done my best to, I guess, remind myself that YouTube comments can be some of the most like toxic ones on the so you got like if you got a reviewer that didn't particularly care for the book, then you've got a bunch of guys in the comments who are going to just essentially like sound off echoing things when you know damn well that they haven't read the book themselves.
Hmm.
Um, my digital sales would be considerably higher if they had. Um, but yeah, so I've definitely had some people who were sort of like spouting off and essentially just parroting back what the initial reviewer might have said. But in some cases, like well, in the most negative review one that we got, the reviewer like she just didn't get it. Like she like misinterpreted certain panels and things like that, and just like it's it became clear to me that she didn't quite, yeah, she didn't really understand what she was looking at, I guess.
Hmm.
Because there were certain panels or whatever that she had interpreted as being um, my, I guess, sort of speech bubbles from one of the villains or whatever. I'm like, no, that's the internal monologue of the villain. That's why it was color coded the way it was. And she thought that characters were responding to the internal monologue. I'm like, no, that didn't happen at all. Like, but that's she seems to be the only one who has misinterpreted it in that way. So, but yeah, so fortunately, response has been pretty good. Yeah, so I can't really complain about that. But definitely, yeah, like figuring out how to respond, or I had to actually actively stop myself from hopping into the comments and trying to clarify stuff because I thought, oh, well, that's not going to end well.
Right.
So I guess yeah, my biggest thing is knowing when to shut myself up. So
Well, shout out to J Man. What's up, man? Shout out to Daniel Calvin. They have joined us today for the show.
hmm
All right. Yeah, so like at one of my old publishers that I was at. Uh, our guy, we got all our titles in, like our first four books in, and
hmm
my book got reviewed by a guy who doesn't like indie superhero books like at all, and he gave
okay.
us this review and tore into us,
hmm
and he was very disinterested in it. I was
Huh.
like, if you don't like reading these type of books, why are you reading and reviewing this type of book?
hmm
But even the same man, I have gotten terrible reviews on whatnot, and I try not to let them bother me at all. I
Well,
try to find the good in the review. Like, all right, so
mhm.
what have you said that's actually valid that I can actually use?
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's yeah, exactly, and that was the very first review we got. Like, if you just read the review, it sounded very positive, and then you look at the score, and it was like a 2.8 out of 5. I'm like, um, the score is not matching up to to what you had to say here. Um, but again, so be it. That happens.
Trying to keep track.
Yeah, I'm sort of
We're
popping
gonna
between things myself here.
Okay, your numbers just went up a little bit. I actually tried to look for a sharpener for my Apple Pen. I am tripping.
It has been a long day for you already.
Well, yeah, I was up late last night streaming,
hmm
and then got up extra early today. I'm trying to set myself up on the schedule
Right.
to get up early in the morning and stream. Then I do a virtual summer camp with kids, and then
Okay.
chat and draw after this, and then back to drawing.
Okay.
Trying, that is. So, today's the first day.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the first Monday after a long weekend, right? So.
Oh, the weekend was so awesome. Just felt good to get all that, just have those days.
hmm
That was
hmm
just the thing. It was just nice to have those days.
Yeah.
So, how was your fourth?
Well, we don't. Well, again, remember, I'm in Canada, so we celebrate Canada Day on July 1st. So we don't have quite the same sort of thing. Although, now, are you in Michigan or are you in New York State?
No, I'm in Ohio.
You're in Ohio. Okay. For some reason, I thought you were in Michigan near the. I don't know. Anyway, but I know that, like for instance, Detroit and Windsor have a big sort of joint celebration every year. But
Well,
um,
Short Fuse was based in Detroit, Michigan.
okay,
I mean, sorry, in Michigan, and so Sean had moved from there or whatnot. Now he's down in Georgia.
okay,
So I've been up there for several shows and things like that.
hmm cool. That's so like you do like Motor City Comic Con and things like that, or
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
yeah, that's I haven't. I was going to actually go over the last couple of years, but there's just like something seems to come up right around the same time that the show was. But no, at this point, I mean, again, just as like a fan, not as a creative at all. But
Well, I want to get my I need to stop procrastinating and get my passport. I want to go to a Comic Con in Canada.
Hmm.
I have a buddy who goes to shows a lot, uh, and he comes down here from Canada.
Okay.
He's like, man, the shows up there are amazing. So I do want to try it. I do want to go to Canada and check out one of the shows,
Hmm.
see how it goes or whatnot. But he's always bragging about how good the comic shows are.
Well, you got to be careful. Well, because like in the city I'm in London, we've got two different Comic Cons that we end up doing. They're run by two separate groups. Usually not too much time elapsed between the two, which is kind of it seems kind of counterproductive to me. It's
Hmm.
like because at one point we had five different comic stores in London, and we've only got like 387,000 people. So to have five
Oh,
comic shops in a city that size is a little bit surprising. But yeah, so that they run two different comic cons basically, and you got one that is like more the heavy hitter, like very celebrity heavy one, and then you've got one that again is more. It should be smaller, and it is smaller in terms of overall duration, um, but it also doesn't get the traffic that some people go expecting. So you just have to sort of be mindful of, at least in my city, of which one
when
to
you go
do.
to.
Yeah, because if you're going to choose, I guess there's a London Comic Con and then Forest City Comic Con. If you're going to choose one over the other, it's probably best in terms of just traffic wise to go to the one with more of the celebrity driven stuff. Um, but that's again just from a fan perspective, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how it would work from the creator standpoint.
I actually prefer. I prefer to go to both types.
Hmm.
Both types to me have two different audiences, and I want to try to get as hold as many people of them as possible.
Hmm.
Um, I find at the smaller shows, books go faster at the smaller shows, and then I find at the bigger shows where you have celebrities and stuff, audience building, depending on how you work it, is easier, and
Hmm.
prints go faster, which gets attention over my table. Then I get the opportunity to pitch
Yeah,
my book. So I
yeah,
like going to either type of show.
yeah. I was just thinking in terms of floor traffic, because the other thing also ends up being that it's like for the Forest City Comic Con, they had ticket prices that were comparable to the London Comic Con, which is the one with the more celebrities and stuff. And it's like, well, wait a second, how are you justifying these ticket prices? Like, what do you like? You're shooting yourself in the foot here, because you don't
Well,
have quite the same draw, and you don't have um, the same sort of foot traffic as a result. So you got people again, like there are some that end up being really good, but others that you get very minimal floor traffic. So I guess it's a gamble all the time, I guess. But
yeah,
um, with your enthusiasm as the most enthusiastic man in comics, I'm pretty sure you would manage to build an audience wherever you go anyway. So I guess it
I,
just give you a spot to shine, and you're going to do your thing. So,
I definitely try. Now I know I do. I know if, every once in a while I have gotten on people's nerves.
oh well, that's bound to happen from time to time. But
Mm,
oh, she's coming along there.
yeah, having a little doodad fun with her.
Hmm. Now, when you're coming up with characters and whatnot, do you tend to go more? I guess which comes first? I guess sort of the name or the like sort of overall like power concept or whatever.
Oh man, I do not have I do not have a specific order on how to create characters. I one time created a character completely from vacuuming.
Okay.
I was thinking about my mom. She was coming over and I was cleaning up and I was vacuuming, and then
Mhm.
I was just like, man, I wonder what the doctor would think of me right now. The doctor that like led my mother's birth, that like pulled me out. Like, what would he think about me right now if he saw me? Like, I'm out here
Okay.
making comics, I'm doing
Mhm.
commissions, teaching art. Would he think that my life has been what he expected it to be, or would he be disappointed in me? And
Mhm.
then the more I vacuumed, the more I thought about this mystical doctor, and I was like, what if he was actually disappointed in me? Like, what if he kept tabs on me? It was a private hospital, so he can keep tabs on certain families that he wanted to, and he would follow up with them. And if he was disappointed in me, what if he came in the dead of night, kidnapped me, and his power was to reverse me back to being a baby and took me and gave me to another family to try again. And then these babies these people would disappear, and this would be a subplot in the book that I can use for missing people.
Huh.
And then yeah, that's exactly how I came up with this character that
Huh.
we're running in a subplot for the Hot Shot book.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah, because that actually ends up reminding me. There's a guy that I know. He is like he's been the I guess president of a number of different sort of like fairly sizable financial where I guess wireless companies or whatever over time. Um, and his brother is a dentist, right? And I started
Mm.
actually thinking to myself, there's probably a scenario where at certain points during their career trajectory that the guy who's currently now like a millionaire or whatever was considered the failure of the sons because the other one was a dentist.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
absolutely right. That's
yeah.
funny how those things work out sometimes.
Hmm. Yeah, but I've definitely like I don't really have a set process myself either. That's like sometimes again just like I like playing with words a lot. So that's again, well, you heard how that sort of like chain of events happened with coming up with Damsel's name.
Hmm.
Um, and like once I had the name down and the idea of what the look was going to be, I couldn't very well give her like just I guess nothing powers. She had to be a powerhouse. So, but even like there's another character in the book named Polar Knight, and he had come around because I had been talking or thinking. I've been talking to somebody about the idea of like the concept of the midnight sun. The
Hmm.
idea that when you like a certain number, like X number of months of the out of the year are like sunlit or what like that, just because of like them being in the North Pole, whatever. Started thinking, okay, well, if there is a midnight sun, well, what's the opposite of a midnight sun? And that led me to like well, it's like a polar night. Okay, so let's fiddle with that a little bit. So polar
Okay.
night, with an N became polar night, as in like KNI, and of course he's going to have like powers, and he's going to have sort of like cold generation powers. He's going to have darkness generation sort of related things. Um, going to have a magic sword because if you're a knight without a sword, that's kind of lame. And it just sort of continues to sort of evolve from there. So, but yeah, it really just sort of surprised me how things sort of hit me. Like I had come up with a couple of villain ideas when I was working campus security at one point, like during my undergrad, and we're just sort of like wandering around some sort of banquet thing, and I just kept thinking to myself, okay, well, I need to come up with like a villain concept, and it just eventually I managed to come up with um, a couple of decent ones. Um, of course, the names have been um, unfortunately used in other mediums. So basically, this would have been back in the '90s, I guess. I was originally a classical studies major,
Uh huh.
so like ancient Greece and Roman things. So a lot of my early villain names would have some sort of either Latin or Greek tilt to them. So I actually had a villain named Kratos long before the God of War video game series.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh crap, they got to they got to it way before I got a chance to.
Yeah, man, that sucks. We went to go see Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey,
Oh, was that any
and
good or no?
her opening scene, she goes off on a crook or somebody because they knocked her breakfast sandwich out of her hand,
Oh
and it's like
geez.
a shot for shot of the opening scene in Hot Shot where he drops his burrito from a crook bumping into him, and like they both react like the same way. So it's like DC Comics is reading the Hot Shot series, but they're not hiring me, but they're taking the ideas.
Oh yeah. Well, that's God. And that actually ends up reminding me there was a when I was going through the early stages of let's see, I was going through the initial stages of sort of beta reading for Project Impact #1, and I had a segment where the mercenary, character called Survivor, you know, punches Damsel and essentially like basically hits a brick wall sort of idea. And one of my readers is like, they're always doing that. Like, why? Like, you just have a scene there where like he's like letting into her with a submachine gun. He's not going to then turn around and throw a punch, because like that would just be stupid. Well, fast forward to the first appearance of Superman on Supergirl, and
Uh,
they unload a clip on Superman, and Superman goes walking up on him like that, and so the guy punches him, breaks his hand, and Superman looks at him and says, "Did you really think that was going to work?" And I just was sitting there going, "I can't believe this."
well, that's the problem with this generation. The people that are growing up and getting these jobs are us.
Mhm,
They're the
mhm,
ones they've seen all these movies and made all these same comments themselves.
mhm.
Um, what was it? There was something where they were just knocking it out the park. I forgot what show it was, but they were just knocking the show out the park, and I was just like, man, you could tell they really love this show. Um, I think it was the CGI Ninja Turtles, the one that
Okay.
came out in 2012, and it started off a little shaky. Because they went off on their own little vent or whatnot. But like after the second season, they started including all the stuff, like all the throwback stuff and the way they incorporated it, and then the personalities and all that stuff. Like they
Mhm,
really knocked it out the park. And I was like, man, you can really tell the team that's making the show really loves Ninja Turtles. Like they
mhm.
really do. And then I was like, oh crap! Like probably half the team is my age because they grew up watching Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. And even just, did you ever watch the like the early run parts of let's see the Voltron reboot on Netflix?
Oh, I've watched all of it.
That's I haven't watched. Sort of
Ah,
ran out of steam around like the fourth or fifth season, but
I've,
yeah, I
go
haven't
ahead.
finished it. But one thing that I thought was just hilarious is when they're first trying to figure out how to form Voltron. You got team leader. What I forget what Sven or whatever whoever he was supposed to be Sven.
Shiro.
Well, no, I mean like he starts talking through. You know how I guess in the old school Voltron they would sort of announce like form arms and legs or whatever, and they go through the entire thing. He's like sort of talking through it, like through the exact same sort of routine that they would have like normally sort of been like shouting out or whatever as they formed the robot, and
Mhm.
they couldn't quite pull it off, but he's sort of almost like going through a checklist of what it is that they were supposed to be doing, and I just thought that was kind of a neat touch to incorporate that sort of throwback to the original, um, without making it as hokey as it was in the original.
And it's like you read my mind and gave me my correct answer because that's the show I was really talking about. I couldn't think of it, but I do enjoy Ninja Turtles. But I said the same thing. But you're absolutely right, and I second that. Third it, fourth it, and fifth it. The attention to detail to Voltron the reboot is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Ridiculous. It's my favorite reboot that has ever been done.
Really?
Um, and like they just did a fantastic job with it. Now I'm
Yeah.
not. I know the ending was a little rushed,
Well,
and it was like,
I again, I ran out of steam, so I haven't hit the ending yet. Um, but I just like again, maybe I was watching it in too, like trying to binge it too hard, I guess. But that's it was coming out on a pretty rapid schedule, though. I was surprised at how fast these seasons were coming out. Um, but I think the total run of the thing was what, like 26 episodes or something like that, or I don't know how many
oh
episodes it
no,
was.
it's a total run.
Like for the reboot.
They did like 8 seasons. Each season is 6 to 10 episodes.
Okay, so let's see here.
Yeah, the seasons were coming out. That was the thing. The seasons were coming out real fast, but they were small.
Okay, yeah, so it's about 73 episodes, I guess.
Yeah, they weren't playing with that. I was
Yeah.
very happy with it though. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I did think the ending was rushed.
Okay. Well, and again, I don't know, like I'm not sure what sort of metrics and stuff they use to decide how things are going to keep going, but like I think like Castlevania was interesting. Um I actually found the second season to be a lot better than the first season of Castlevania. I was, but then again, the first season was only like 3 episodes, so
Hmm.
um, and yeah, they do a lot of they're doing a lot of interesting stuff with some of these old properties now.
Yeah, I agree. It was only 3 episodes. It was easy to get into or whatnot, but they definitely opened up the second season.
Hmm.
Third season was a little crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I still enjoyed it or whatnot, but they obviously have plans for it.
yeah. Well, again, as long as the like animation quality stays up, and as long as like it's solid storytelling, then I'll be along for the ride.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. As long as and see that was the thing with Voltron. Animation was I thought the animation was amazing.
yeah.
The best part was the characters, though. The way they characterized everyone, the character moments they gave everybody in that show.
Mhm.
They really did their homework.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that's actually that reminds me. There was something else you're talking about earlier, that where one of your storylines is going, and it's just a matter of sort of like getting you there.
Hmm.
I was watching a YouTube video earlier by I think it's like Nerd Writer or something like that, and he was talking about Batman v Superman, the movie,
Hmm.
and how to him, um, I guess Zack Snyder's style is essentially it's if he could manage to do a movie that was just like moments that would go in a montage, then he would be the greatest director of all time. And that the reason that BVS didn't work was because there were too many moments and not enough scenes. So it's like, well, I want to be able to get like, how do I get to this next moment that I want here, right?
Hmm.
And again, that's sort of the one of the problems that I'm sort of struggling with right now. Like I know long term, like I've got the comics right now are going in like an episodic fashion. So
Hmm.
it's much more of like a sort of monster of the week sort of idea. Um, with like Denzel's going to be actually front and center for the majority of issue 3, um, which also made her an appropriate choice for today's chat and draw. But just sort of getting her, or sort of getting the whole point, I guess, the whole team to a point where I guess the payoff lands. That's
Right.
where I'm going. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is like, okay, so I know where I want to end up, but how do I get it there and manage to stick the landing?
See, and that's a great topic because that's what I was trying to figure out on this new issue of Emerald Quest that I'm writing. Like I know where I want it to end, but how do I get it there? Like what elements do I need to do to get there? So how'd you solve yours?
I'm still trying to figure that out. That's the thing. It's like I know like the larger overriding arc, like what I've been doing. Um, like some people have sort of commented on the idea that okay, yeah, it is much more monster of the week, or it is very episodic, almost like a series of one shots. But I do sprinkle in seeds here and there to try and build as I'm going. Um, but I wanted to spend more time sort of going, I guess, character first, like pushing character first and making sure that people get to know who these characters are and get some sort of affinity for them, ideally, so that when the twists and turns happen, they feel earned.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's kind of the ongoing challenge right now. Because again, like I feel like if I tried to wrap up the arc that I was going for in 4 issues, it wouldn't land. So I decided, okay, well, I can either force it into the initial like 4 issues or the initial 6 issues and have it not land, or I can keep it as a B or a C plot until it's ready to be the A plot.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's nice.
Okay. And then sort of like let the characters grow, let the characters experience things, but again, just sort of like tease it out as opposed to forcing it.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's some old Kirkman stuff right there. Kirkman does a lot of that. And I love it. I love getting a story that I didn't realize was really about to be a big story, and before I knew it, I had a new issue of Invincible, and it was a conclusion of something that had
Okay.
been building up in his books. I love that. That was always a nice treat to have.
Okay.
J Man says the reboot of the 2000 He Man and the Masters Universe was awesome, but Cartoon Network screwed the pooch with it, left us all hanging with on a season 3. It all became just a Mattel toy graph. Hopefully, Kevin Smith's version on Netflix is decent, which he has said it takes place right after the original 80s series. I'm
Mhm.
interested in seeing that, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, as am I, because he'd also said that the animation team that they were using for this were, sorry, is the same animation studio house or whatever that the Castlevania series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you got yourself a continuation of the 80s storyline with the updated artwork from the Castlevania series. So that should be interesting.
Now, I think the animation's good, and it definitely works for Castlevania. I don't know if it works for a He Man.
I'm curious too. That's the thing. Now I do see another question here from Brad Arney. It says, "Does Mr. Reset have any recommendations on other Canadian indie comics? I'm a Captain Canuck and Northgard fan and received my first Red Leaf comic in the mail today. I haven't read any Red Leaf comics at this point. I think it depends on what sort of genre you're looking for. I think to me, well, obviously, I think that ours is pretty good, but if you're not looking at the Project Impact books, which I've done 2 of now, um, I think probably the best Canadian team book that's out there right now is a book called North by Scott Sawyer. Um, let's see. I'm going to just type this in here just in case he's not there. And Orica the Great White North is more of a all ages title. Um, but by Andrew Thomas. So North by Scott Sawyer and Orica the Great White North by Andrew Thomas. Those are 2 good Canadian indies. Let's see. Big Nick is a pretty decent one. There's a fair amount now. Obviously, Captain Canuck gets most of the attention,
Mhm.
but North I think is probably my favorite of the books coming out. When Scott started putting when I started seeing the stuff that Scott was putting out, I was kind of annoyed that he was going to get to market before we did because he's coming up with a heck of a book there. So, but I think again ours is pretty good in its own right, and I like to think it can stand on its own. So another one I guess would be Aurora Man. Yeah, it's Roar Man's pretty good in its own right. But again, it all depends on what sort of style that you're looking for. I think our book is like it has the superpowered elements to it, but we try and keep it fairly grounded, I guess. Like I don't go out like I'm certainly not trying to destroy the universe by any stretch of the imagination anytime soon. And I try and keep locations recognizable, and well, as like sort of real locations. Like in the first issue, we end up going to like an actual legit power station that exists in Niagara Falls. And in the second one, a lot of stuff takes place. It starts off in the second issue at an artillery range in southwestern Ontario. That artillery range actually exists. And similarly, like stuff goes on outside the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, which again actually exists. We made sure to make the background scenery or whatever like that and the facades match as best we could the local area. So I don't know. It's that sort of attention to detail that we're trying to bring to the table in our book here. But yeah, so yeah, she's definitely coming along quite well.
Thank you.
There are no nipples in this one, all right?
Right. I just kind of got the I just kind of got the feeling that on this costume that like how you know how Cyclops' uniform has, even though it's a blue uniform, it's got those dark blacks in it.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of figured her costume would have some of that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just bugging you because I know that there is the nipple appearance in mine, and there was when what is it, Gut Shot had the nipple action going too.
Well, that's you guys' fault. Y'all told me those characters put in work. Those
Right,
characters,
that's true.
you said they get in the fights.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
There we go. J-Man says, I tried to like the Thundercats reboot a few years ago. It was decent, but some things were changed with Lino and Tiger being brothers. They hinted Silverhawks with Monstar characters in one of the episodes and Tiger Sharks like characters in the prison episode, which Tiger Sharks is the most forgotten short-lived spinoff of Thundercats with all the properties Warner is so stupid not to bring them back. Yo, Silverhawks and Tiger Sharks were my crack, man. I used to love those shows, and they were short-lived. This is kind of where I kind of messed up, was trying to figure out how to put these blacks in here. So I always try to experiment with it on a different layer.
Okay.
Did you happen to remember those cartoons?
Okay. So now with there were some ones that I had access to, and some other ones that I didn't, just because. So, for example, okay. So for the longest time, just being where I'm at right now, we had, I guess, different access to affiliates and whatever. So there weren't any Canadian affiliates that were carrying Thundercats, for instance.
Oh, wow.
That was coming out of, I think it was Channel 50 Detroit, which we never got. And even actually into the early 90s, when the original X-Men animated series first came out, we didn't have access to that because where we were, we couldn't get a Fox channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then channel, I think it was Channel 2 Detroit got sold from CBS to Fox. And that's when, since we already had Channel 2 on our available packages, that's when we finally got Fox. So I think it was probably after, like it was, I would say, like mid '90s. Like we missed the Tick, for instance,
Wow, really?
because well, we just didn't have access to it, right? At least
Yeah.
not, but then we did catch the tail end of the X-Men. Um, so yeah, it's just been kind of hit and miss. So and Silverhawks, never saw Silverhawks. But Thundercats, yes. The original one anyway. I caught up on the rebooted one little bit. I thought the animation style was fantastic in the updated one.
Mhm. That is so crazy. Because I know we are close in age and grew up at the same time or whatnot, and like just
Well,
being in different places, not having access to certain cartoons.
well, for me, like if Channel 43 out of Cleveland, WAB, if
Hmm.
that if it didn't appear on that channel, then I probably didn't see it. So, for instance, like I got the original GI Joe and Transformers cartoons were on WAB, and same thing with Robotech. So I saw those three there. I remember seeing also Galaxy Rangers here and there. Mighty Orbots was on there as well. Yeah, so there's a few different ones, but yeah, so some of the bigger ones, like so I missed the running of the Tick. I missed Thundercats because that, although again, I had cousins in Windsor who did have access to that, so they would like tape it on VHS or like that, and show me some episodes or what like that here and there. So at least I was aware of them, but I never got to see them live or while they were actually actively, going. So, but yeah, no, I think
Crazy.
that yeah, it's I liked them from when I saw them. I thought they were pretty cool. I never had any of the Thundercats toys, though. That's I had a bunch of the He-Man stuff, but I didn't have any Thundercats and
Man,
Transformers, GI Joe, and Star Wars and stuff like that. But
yeah, because the Thunder Tank was one of the coolest vehicles that has ever come out, man. I absolutely.
I always thought Panthro was the best because he had like the nunchucks
Hmm.
on. Yeah, that was that was a cool character idea.
Trying to get my little crosshatch on here a little bit.
Hmm. Okay, well now that you've been like spoiled by digital, do you think like how tough is it to go back to traditional for like cons and stuff and doing commissions on the spot?
Yeah, it's a little bit tough, but it's easy at cons. Because I think I have this little bit thing of a performance thing.
Mm,
So like for if I'm drawing something for somebody at a convention, I'm gonna subconsciously put more work into it because they're actually like there trying to get their thing and they want to have it or whatnot.
hmm.
And I know the better I draw in person, the more people I attract over to the table.
Right. Okay.
But I did a commission for somebody at home, and that was hard
Hmm.
because I am getting used to this digital.
Yeah.
Like if I did the hand or anything misproportionately, I could just cut it and readjust it and flip it and stuff like that. Um, I wouldn't be as fearless as I am putting in these blacks, but they're on their own layer, so
Yeah. Mm,
I'm fine with it.
yeah. No, I
I
don't
like
suppose. So anyway, we could soften the chin a little bit because she's
soften it up, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I
Still, I
mean, like
still
even
want her to
stuff
look
like
cute.
this, huh?
I said I still want her to look cute. Yep. So there we go. That's uh, yeah. So I think it's looking good there. Let's see if there are any other. Like to see a reboot of Thundar the Barbarian. Yes, Thundar. I remember Thundar. That was apparently a Jack Kirby thing.
Oh yeah.
Because Brad and Jay are talking about Thundar the Barbarian a little bit, and then Jay saying that he thinks Vin Diesel would be an excellent Panthro for a live action Thundercats.
No, Jay, I have not. I mean, I haven't picked them up, but I saw them, and some of that stuff I saw, and it was cool. I will
Mhm.
definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think
Yeah, she's
we're
looking.
done.
Yeah, I think that looks excellent.
Used one of my old drawings that I never used before.
Okay.
It was a Snow White drawing.
All right.
Trying to make her a superhero. So this was fun.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come on. Hopefully, some of your audience will be at least curious about the books there, and hopefully you get a chance to finish reading them yourself there. That's because again, I am looking to hear some feedback to sort of see what you think of what we've done and what we're putting together.
Yes, and I want to jump on that because I do want to give you my opinion and feedback on it or whatnot.
Mm. I
I
like
had a lot of
the time
huh?
lapse. The time lapse is a good effect. I like that.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun with this. This is one of the main reasons I like drawing and Procreate, going back and seeing how it all built up or
Mhm.
whatnot. This is I think I don't normally do that much work into the hair, but I felt like she deserved it.
Oh God, well, I can only imagine what type of product that she must go through on a monthly basis. That's
And then we can get the book here, right?
yes, that's the link to the the first volume, so you'll be able to see both issues there on Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about additional shipping costs or whatever. If you have an Amazon account, then you can click those. You automatically have a Comixology account if you have an Amazon account, so it's not a matter of like, oh, I got to register for another thing. It's the same. It's all under the same umbrella. Um,
Oh, that's nice.
so basically, it's just pretty much like everybody seems to order from Amazon nowadays. So it's just click into your Amazon account. There they are. Um, and yeah, I think it'd be nice to see what other people think about things. Again, I'm proud of what we've been doing. I think that what you've done there is awesome. Now, last time you had sent me like a ping file to be able to send my
PNG.
PNG to
Yep.
be able to see my colors because of course I'm going to send this thing rocketing off to her as fast as I can make that happen.
Actually,
um,
let's see here. Yeah. And I'll try to make it. Yeah, I can send you that. That's no problem. Let me get rid of that background.
because the first one turned out really well. So
PNG. Put that up there, and it is uploading to the drive.
awesome,
And
awesome.
so
Well,
I will once that's done, which shouldn't take long, at all. I will get you the link. I
okay.
want to thank Alan for being on the show. There's a link where you can purchase his books right there. As he said, there is. If you got an Amazon account and you have a Comixology account, which is very nice. I didn't know that. Thank you for hitting me to that.
Mhm.
Um, uh, if you're tuning in for the first time, I hope you enjoyed it. If you are not tuning in the first time, or whatever, if you're just watching, share it. Let other people see it. Let them know. Give me a follow on Twitch, because we're streaming on Twitch and Facebook Live right now. If you want to know anything or get any of my comic books, you can get them at shortfusemediagroup.com. If you buy the physical copies of the book, you get the digital copy for free. And I heard those FSK guys got a couple extra things swag wise if you pick up your books for digital rewards or whatnot. So just go over to the website. We got a ton of books. Go over and check them out. I am on Patreon, and I believe, well, I got to check the schedule. I think I'm back here tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get back on here tonight to finish up. I can give you guys a little peek to finish up this. So I got to put the colors on that.
Nice.
This is a Patreon exclusive print that they're getting. And I've been doing this on Twitch for since yesterday or whatnot.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been great. It's been a blast. Alan, I'm gonna send you this reference image of the girl that I drew for her hair and stuff because I think she fits your lady.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Well, cool beans. Thank you, everybody. You guys have a good night. If you see me pop up on your stream, tune in. See what I'm drawing. Talk to me. Keep me occupied. I will talk to the rest of you all later, and have a good evening.
All right.